Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Waters, along with Judge Janine Pirro, Harold Ford Jr., Dana Perino, and the Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Heartbreaking devastation in Hawaii. At least 36 lives have been tragically lost after hurricane-force winds whipped up wildfires that raged across the island and reduced towns to rubble. People forced to drive through hell on earth to flee. One resident watching as the flames came dangerously close to his home, scorching nearly every building on his street. As of this hour, hundreds are presumed to be missing. Bodies are being pulled from the ocean after people had no choice but to jump in to escape the flames. And thousands are scrambling for safety. Max Gordon's on the ground in Maui. Max.
Yeah, you got it there. It's an island paradise that was turned into a hellscape. You can see the field behind me blackened by the fire. The scent of smoke hangs heavy in the air, but there is some good news at this hour. This morning we saw some rain roll through, much needed for this scorched island.
Oh my gosh, look at the harbor. Oh my gosh.
Longtime residents here shock at what they saw. People here in Maui have dealt with just so much loss because of these fires. At least 36 people dead. It's the deadliest U.S. wildfire since the 2018 Camp Fire in California. It's unclear what sparked these fires on Maui, but officials here say that conditions have been very dry and that winds from passing Hurricane Dora hundreds of miles to the south fanned the multiple wildfires and caused them to spread quickly. Gusts of up to 85 miles per hour were reported, grounding firefighting aircraft. Some communities on Maui have been decimated. Block after block in the historic seaside town of Lahaina burned to the ground. In some cases, people had to jump into the ocean to escape the flames, and some are now left with nothing. At least 11,000 people have been evacuated from the island of Maui via air. Right now, Hawaiian Airlines is offering $19 tickets just to get people to other islands. And today, around 1,500 people are expected to leave the island via air. Back to you.
So sad, Max. Thank you. Now let's go to Rick Reichmuth, Fox Weather Center. Rick.
Hey, yeah, just want to show you kind of the setup of what caused all this to happen. We've talked about Hurricane Dora, but that's way to the south. In fact, it's around 700 miles away. You have this area of high pressure to the north of it. It's those two in conjunction that really funneled all the winds right through. You'll notice where they are now, moving past Hawaii, and so the winds really calming down a lot. And that's the good news. The weather, at least, now begins to cooperate a little bit. I want to just show you a few before and after pictures. Take a look at this of Lahaina before. And now take a look at the Lahaina afterwards. You see almost the entire thing burn. And I want to do this across a couple different areas. This is the outlets of Maui. Take a look at it before, and you go to after. Pretty much every building in that entire area burned. Now go to Banyan Court, also in Lahaina before, and you go to afterwards. And again, every one of the buildings gone. And this all happened because those winds were gusting as high as 80 miles an hour. And right in Lahaina, one of those fires right in Lahaina, that's a larger population area. And then some fires also up here in upcountry, not as much population in that spot. Right now, winds have calmed down a little bit. They're around 20 to 25 miles an hour across the area. That certainly is improvement. One thing I just want to show you, as of yesterday, 6% of the entire state of Hawaii was in drought. Now that number has gone up to 14%. The new monitor just came out yesterday, but the worst of that drought is right there on Maui. That's where we've got up to severe drought, and you can see it when you look at the precipitation. It's the one island here that is below average year to date precipitation-wise. So, and maybe a little bit of rain coming in over the next few days, but they still have a deficit in the rain, guys, and that's been a big part of the problem.
All right, thanks, Rick. Stay there. Let's bring back Max Gordon. Max, you're seeing something new? Here we go.
Yeah, we've got a Chinook helicopter here. It looks like it's carrying a bucket full of water. This is one of the very important tools that firefighters use to douse the flames, and this is one of the reasons why the firefighting efforts were made so difficult by that high wind. Essentially, the wind grounded helicopters like this Chinook, made it unable to be used because it's just too dangerous. But you can see it now circling around. I'm not sure exactly where this helicopter is going to be making its bucket bucket drop here, or where it's been picking up water. But yeah, this is the first time we've seen the Chinook in action. I believe this is a National Guard helicopter. The National Guard has been on the ground here, aiding in the search and rescue efforts. And as you can see, they're now helping out with the firefighting efforts as well. Jesse?
All right, Max, stay there. We're going to take it around the table. Dana Perino has a question.
Max, I was wondering, just given what we know now, I know this all happened seemingly very quickly yesterday, and the fire looked like it was far enough away that people could take an assessment and decide whether to leave. But do you think there would have been time for there to have been an evacuation order or more warning that the government could have provided to people so that they could have either saved their property or saved their lives?
Yeah, so we had a combination of a lot of different environmental factors at play, right? So we had very dry conditions here on the ground. This part of Maui is in a drought. And then we had those high winds. And then we also had low relative humidity. So all that combined to create a firestorm, essentially. And this fire moved very, very quickly. I'm not necessarily going to second guess, whether or not there should have been evacuation orders or when. But when a fire starts moving that quickly with 80-mile-per-hour winds, oftentimes there's not much firefighters are able to do to stop the flames. And then unfortunately, we saw the fire move into the town of Lahaina, go from building to building, block to block to block. When a fire gets going like that, especially with older buildings, this is a very historic area, it's a chain reaction. It's like dominoes. We see building after building just start to go down. And unfortunately, we saw the town essentially decimated.
All right, Max, Harold Ford Jr.
Max, thanks for the reporting. Two quick questions for you. First, are there still people stranded in places where they want to evacuate? We saw some reports of that. I'm hoping that's wrong.
I haven't necessarily heard of anybody still stranded. I know that evacuations are still ongoing. The county of Maui has been busing people from the west side over to the airport, just trying to get as many people out as possible. But search and rescue operations are still ongoing. They're still looking for folks. And one thing that's making this a lot more difficult is that communications are really spotty on the west side. Cell towers are down. Phone lines are down, power is out. And so some people might not be able to get in touch with their loved ones. A really harrowing situation, especially with officials saying that the death toll could rise.
Judge.
Max, it is a harrowing situation, certainly for people who were forced to jump into the ocean because they felt they had no other option. But having been in a national emergency myself, or a natural emergency, I should say, one of the things that people feel is that once a search and rescue is over, they have to feel confident that someone is going to come in and save them, not just emotionally from the trauma, but financially, to allow them to build again. The Army Corps of Engineers. What is the plan going forward once a search and rescue is over? Will people be allowed to come in and assist the people from Hawaii?
Yeah, a major disaster declaration is going to unlock those federal funds. We're going to have wait and see what happens next from here. I think right now we're still in the assessment phase, just seeing what's been broken, finding the people who are missing, and then we're going to get to those next steps. But I think what is very clear right now is that it's going to take a long time for a lot of folks here to recover. We've got more than 200 structures that have been burned down in Lahaina alone. People have lost their homes. They've lost everything. A lot of things can't be replaced, especially the lives, the 36 people who have been confirmed dead.
Greg.
Yeah, I know that the variables of a very dry summer and these strong winds created this devastation. But how did it start? Usually these things are man-caused. There could have been volcanic activity, but do they have any idea?
Right now, we don't know what caused these fires. This is not necessarily a volcanic island. It is a part of a volcanic chain, but there aren't any active volcanoes here. So right now, we're going to have to wait for word on officials on why these fires started.
Okay, let's take it over to Rick. Last words.
Yeah, the active volcano is on the Big Island, so not there in Maui, but probably also when you've got winds going this high, very easily could have just knocked power lines down, which would cause a spark, and in that dry vegetation, get that fire going really fast. So way too early probably to figure out exactly what it is, but because there were also a few different fires, those winds likely knocking down power lines would certainly be a good suspect for it.
Rick, thank you. Max, you as well. Let's keep Hawaii in our thoughts and prayers.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.